Welcome back to the Clinic Scale podcast. Today we're back with part 2 with my good mate, Dr. Patrick Hogg. Patrick is the director and doctor of chiropractic at CompleteHealth Eastbourne, and he's someone who has consistently shown up as both a clinical leader and a true business owner. Some really big mindset shifts in this episode, so some tactical gems as well, and some real stories that will make you reflect on your own journey. So settle in, grab a coffee or your favorite drink, and let's get straight into it. Patrick, welcome back to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Great to have you in person this time.
Absolutely.
So let's dive straight back in. I want to talk about the business side and scaling up.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that you think separates those who scale their businesses, specifically healthcare businesses like chiropractic clinics? What's the difference between those that can scale and those that just plateau?
Yeah, it's a brilliant question. I mean, from my experience of what I've seen with scaling, there's an element of risk that people have to take in order to scale. And I think those that are going to scale hard are probably going to be the less risk adverse. Because with anything with scaling, there's going to be some element of either time or cost that's going to have to go into that process. So whether that's dumping loads of money back into the business or even potentially removing yourself from that business and taking away the income that you would be generating as an individual practitioner. So this is one of the big things you see with scaling, certainly in my experience. Now that we're starting to scale up in our practice, you know, as an individual doc working in a practice, if you're seeing those patients, you're taking 100% of that income from that. But ironically, you know, when you can get 5 or 6 people seeing as many people as that, you're going to see that growth eventually. But it's almost that ability to be able to go, okay, I'm going to have to take that reduction from what I'm going to get in order to get that scale of what I can get. So I think, there's this element of knowing that there's going to be a short-term pain for a long-term gain. And I think that's where people sometimes get scared of actually being able to take that loss in order to get that gain. Yeah.
No, I'm so with you on that. I mean, our clinic in Christchurch, so as part of our group, we've got 5 clinics in the UK. And we're scaling our clinics as well in Dorset. So, you know, our clinic in Dorset, we're just pushing 600 visits a week at the moment.
Absolutely.
And
how many of those are you doing though?
Personally, I'm doing 0.
There you go. That's the point, right?
So, yeah, that is the point. But I have been a chiropractor that's seen 150 plus a week. I've done that. However, I was always the bottleneck of my business.
Absolutely.
And the sooner I realised that, and the sooner I realised that I could transform more lives through chiropractic and change society, which is ultimately my mission.
Yeah.
I can only do that if I remove myself completely from the front end, the operator side of the clinic.
Absolutely, and that's where you kind of have those different types of business owners. So you have those different types of, you know, certain business owners like yourself. You know, your ability to scale comes from completely removing yourself. Yeah. Like at least from the hands-on doing things. You're not completely removed from the business, but like removing yourself from the doing of the thing. Yeah. You know, as people like Alan Sugar and Richard Branson, they're not the ones that are, you know, down on the shop floor or flying the planes. They're the people sitting behind and just directing people in the direction that they need to go. And I think that's what kind of shows you true leadership within a business as well. It's not necessarily having to always do, but being able to lead people from the front.
Absolutely. And it's that doing, I mean, it's everything, isn't it? So we talk about, in Clinic Scale, we're working on a framework. And it's something along the lines of, what are the key things that a business needs to do to help move the needle and to scale it? So we're talking about, okay, so initially, that individual person within a team needs to think by themselves first. To think, use technology, use AI, ChatGPT, Grok, that kind of stuff. Use that first. So we've got to think.
Then collaborate with the rest of your team, or find someone that you know would be stronger at that or can give you good insights. So think, collaborate, strategize, come up with a strategy. Before you start doing anything, at least come up with a really good strategy, implement that strategy, and then do the tasks involved. So there's sometimes in businesses, like there's a lot of thinking and strategizing, but not a lot of doing. Like for example, this podcast, we thought about it and we strategized for a few months. We're like, should we, shouldn't we? And then we just went for it. And now it's scaling that podcast. It's going to be one of the most popular podcasts in our industry.
Absolutely.
And it's only because we came up with a really good plan for it. We knew what our niche was. We knew who we wanted on the podcast. We didn't want to just interview anyone. Like, there's a reason we've asked someone like yourself to come in person, because we know that you are a pioneer of our profession. And that's the kind of people we want. You know, in our other episodes, you've got Dr. Steve Williams, you've got Tom Lawrence, we've got Lawrence Tam coming on. We've got some big names coming onto the podcast, and actually they're the kind of people that our chiropractors in this country need, and beyond. They're the kind of people that they should be listening to.
And people to model behind.
Absolutely. So it's about thinking, collaborate, strategize, implement, do.
And what you'll always find is behind any really successful clinic or any clinic that is scaling and seeing volume, you go in, and if you ever go in and observe in those clinics, you will see it is like clockwork in those offices. There are procedures and structures that have been set up to make that process as easy as possible. You know, whether we like or dislike certain people within our profession, like people like Mark Hudson that were seeing 500 plus visits a week, or Tim Young that's seeing 500 plus, the one thing you always see in their offices is that everything is so streamlined and the team are all in sync.
Yes. As you know, I'm ex-military. So I think that really shaped a lot of my life, and people joke with me like, you run a really tight ship down there in Christchurch, and I was like, well, I've had to, and also that was the way I learnt things to work in a very efficient way. So in the military, you know, every morning was the roll call, and then they'd come, your commander would come into the room. If your towel wasn't perfectly folded and your boots were not spotlessly clean, and the bed wasn't spotlessly made, and they came in, I remember they ran their finger along the top of the door, and if there was a speck of dust, that's it. You'd stay on the base for the weekend and you wouldn't go home and see your family. So that's the kind of experience that I had. And then I got into chiropractic, and then I became a business owner after that.
So you become militant?
I've become militant as a business owner. Is that what it takes? Who knows? But then I've had to tone that down a bit, because you have to understand that not everyone is in the military. And I had this conversation with Donald Francis from Tweed Chiropractic, and he said the same. He had to really tone it down when you've come from a military, and he was a captain in the military. You have to tone it down when you're trying to lead a team, but you do need to have systems, strategies, and you have to have very, very high commitment and from your team. You need to be the leader, and you need to lead with clarity.
It's also knowing your communication styles with people. That's a very key aspect in that situation, because you can be militant, but how you present that to someone is going to be completely different. So when you look at personality types, you know, I see 3 very significant personality types that I would see, and this is so true not just for your staff, but this is also really true for your patients as well. So you'll see that people are either very structural, they're very energetic, which is probably a little bit more like what we are, where you kind of ebb and flow into loads of, you can't stay still for any period of time. And then you have your really high perceivers, and you've got really different structures with different people. Like and people will be a combination of the 3. Like they'll be stronger in certain, normally in 2 out of the 3, they'll be normally stronger in 2 out of those 3 elements. Like a structure, if let's just say, for example, you wanted to drive from, I've come from Eastbourne, so if I wanted to drive here home, right, and, I didn't know the route, a structure would have to know, like, very exact instructions on how they're going to do that. A perceiver would kind of get themselves on the road and just really take their time, whereas the energetic is just going to be like, get in the car and just get off, and they're just going to go. So it's like you'll see these with say for example your patients. If you have a perceiver come in, they're going to tell you what the grass smelled like on the day that they blew their back out. If you have a member of staff that's like that, they're going to be the one that's going to be like, no, we can't release this email until we've got every single last spelling check. Whereas if I do that email, we know that email is going out with every single spelling check. Now, again, there's benefits.
And are you the one that's going to send that email? Probably not.
But there's going to be benefits and negatives to both. Because I remember having this in my business where I had a very high perceiver, and we couldn't get anything done because she wanted everything to be perfect before we sent it. And I was like, it doesn't matter if it's perfect. Done badly is better than not done.
Yeah, perfectionism is the killer of dreams, as they say.
But the good thing is if we get it started, then we can perfect it later. And sometimes you have to make those, like you say, you have to make mistakes in order to kind of get to that growth and scale. And trust me, we've made some bad mistakes.
But you failed fast.
Yeah.
And you pivot.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what gets us there now.
Absolutely. Well, gosh, we have spent so much time, energy, resources, money on trying different marketing strategies. I was talking to you about earlier, before we start the podcast, about the magazines that we'd released. You know, not many chiropractors are trying magazines. Mm-mm. When I opened my clinic, we did a launch magazine ad. It was a 2-pager. It cost about £500-600 a month. Mm-hmm. It generated 30 plus new patients consistently for months. Mm-hmm. It was the same ad. Eventually it plateaued and we had to change the ad up, and we changed the ad up, and then again it started creating good results. You know, when you're running a business, you have to invest in yourself and invest in trying different things, because if you don't invest, you don't know what the outcome's going to be. And sometimes you just need to find that right thing, and then suddenly boom, your business scales. You've got to hit that right thing. And the market's always changing. You'll remember when you started your clinic, how cheap it was to get a lead through Facebook.
Absolutely.
I mean, how much? Do you remember the numbers? How much it used to cost you?
I want to say when with first, especially during COVID, like there was just something just very special about that time as a practitioner, because everyone's crying about the fact that their business is about to implode. And we're freaking bursting at the seams. Like, it seemed so daft that in a time that we weren't even allowed to stand within 2 meters of people, but we were allowed to put our hands on people. But, you know, regardless of that, I want to say that our cost per lead for a lead generation ad was like £3 per lead.
And now, what would you be looking at?
Same
types of ad. I mean,
yeah, same. So for a lead generation, we could probably be. And the thing is, we now push harder in this and we invest harder into it because we've got more mouths to feed in the practice. But it's probably at least trebled. On certain lead generation ads, probably 5 or 6 times X. So going anywhere up to £15 to £20 a lead as opposed to £3 a lead is astronomical. But even with our screening, we did screening in-house. Again, people come in, have free posture checks. We were paying as little as 30p per click, or it was extortionate how cheap. But I think one of the things is everyone started investing less in their business. Everybody started trying to tighten up during COVID, and we did the polar opposite. We invested more, and you know the way the algorithms work on Facebook is the more people that are competing for that space, the more the cost of the ad. So where everyone else was saving, we were going. And I think it brings you into that really valid point when you're scaling. The person that can afford to spend the most will scale the fastest.
Yeah, I've heard that before. Person that's willing and able to spend the most to acquire a client always wins.
Absolutely.
Because the algorithms support that. They want your money, so they want you to succeed on their ads.
So then you can pay more to do it again.
Into their system.
And again.
And we'll happily do that. However, the longer you leave it in the ad running, often the more expensive the lead becomes.
Yeah.
However, sometimes you don't see the results of a lead campaign until maybe a month in.
Yeah.
Sometimes you've got to keep it running. We always say in our marketing team, we're like, let's leave the ad running longer this time so you can really reap the benefits of that. Because sometimes you don't see it. Sometimes I think the attribution for it, like how long it takes someone to actually become a lead. Sometimes they'll see your ad once, but it won't be until they've seen it 3, 4, 5 times before they're like, okay, now I'm going to submit the lead form.
Yeah.
So sometimes you've got to wait. You've got to wait, and then you'll see the result.
Yeah. We're also really successful for this in our space because of where we are. and how many offices. I mean, I know in Bournemouth you've got a huge number of clinics scaled here and around this area.
But do you see that as a bad thing? Because we don't.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
It just means, especially for us with Facebook marketing campaigns,
Yeah,
our lead cost per lead is
lower.
so low because
It'll be
there is
lower.
no one else competing for the space with us. We're the only clinic in our space that have the capacity to, because we've seen other clinics try, and you can see where they've had agencies and stuff there. And this is the thing, is that, you know, the industry is different, and if you don't understand the industry, you know, these other clinic scalers or these other Facebook marketers, you know, they understand how to market for a market, but maybe not our specific niche.
Yeah.
And as a result, what these guys are thinking, they're actually losing money by spending money on these ads. And they might be spending £700 on an ad, getting 5 leads. But the reality is, if you're converting those clients onto long-term, you'll lose money on the examinations at the beginning. But as soon as those people have converted onto K, that's where when your income, your profit comes. So it's like you say, it's knowing what you can afford to pay. Because if you say, for example, a patient is on average going to do 12 to 24 visits in your office, and they're paying £50 per visit or £40 per visit, you can take the number of visits times the cost of that visit. That's what you can actually technically afford to pay for acquiring that lead.
I'm very upfront about this. I say this on the podcast. Like, my inspirations, the business leaders that I follow are people like Tony Robbins, Alex Hormozi, Russell Brunson. I think they're the top 3 in the world right now for business leaders.
How much does it cost to coach those guys?
Quite a lot. But then,
and even at their bottom
you
scale.
know, if people come and coach with me, I'm going to be honest, I have coaches. Like, I would not have the right to coach someone if I didn't have a coach. So,
absolutely.
I was taught by one of my early coaches, Ryan Ryder. I've coached with him. I've gone the whole way through his value ladder. Everything, you name it, a program that he had done.
You've done it?
I had done it. His inner circle, his platinum group, the one-to-one coaching, I've done it all. Brilliant coach. And he taught me a coach without a coach is not a coach. And you've got to be willing to invest. And I spent a lot of money with Ryan, but it paid dividends. You know, we opened our clinic in 2021 after the first wave of COVID.
Yep, nice.
We did spinal screenings.
Yep.
We were touching people, checking spines, checking postures at spinal screens and local events. We generated 300 new patients just from spinal screenings. And we were booked up for 3 months when we opened the doors to our clinic. It actually wasn't that hard to do. You've just got to be really, really consistent.
It's a numbers game.
It's a numbers game. And now we realise, now it's like, well, we can do that. And we did it in May of this year. We did it again. We just did it in 1 month this time because I've got scale and I can do that with my team. The numbers we get from screening events are crazy. 86 new patients from a 3-day event the other week.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what we're aiming for this month. So
and obviously we've been talking about
we've got a new associate starting exactly the same
and
thing.
I sent you our guide for that.
Like you say, we did what was it? Who was it that used to do this? John DeMartini. He said the rule of 5. Rule of 5. He would do 5 talks a day and expect 5 patients per talk. And his conversions were actually technically not that good. But the point was he just went around New York doing, I think it was New York that he was in. Just go to 5 different businesses, do 5 different talks, and try and get 5 people from each one. 25 new patients a day. I don't know very many practices that would not cope with 25 new patients.
But he's consistent. So
and that's the point.
Alex Hormozi always talks about consistency will always beat intensity.
Absolutely.
So if you show up repeatedly, even when it gets boring, that is how you will scale a business. And we are so consistent. We are so consistent in what we do. We do a big screening event, a big one. I'm not talking like a local market. We do the big festivals. Yeah. The food festivals. We were at a reggae festival. We were at a wine tasting festival. We did that this weekend. We booked another, I think it was 35 new patients. Anywhere where there's a crowd of people, we will be there. But you can do that at scale. And I understand that is not feasible for most clinic owners, especially if you're a single doc. However, there's nothing stopping you from creating bringing them in-house, yes, or creating a screening team. They don't have to be chiropractors. You can create a screening team that goes out. I know Josh and Rosie from Life Balance in Poole have done that. They used to do that. They had a screening team that would go out and they would do the screens. They weren't actually chiropractors doing those screenings, but still booking new patients. This is doable for everyone. You can scale this up. We have people in our team that are not chiropractors and they will screen. The only difference is they won't give out medical advice.
Yeah. Our best quality, I think, of any lead that we ever get. We love screenings, but our best quality lead is always talks.
When you say quality lead, for those listening, what does that mean? What does quality lead mean?
When I talk quality, so...
And what is a lead? What does a lead mean? What is a lead?
So a lead is someone that is likely to be converted into a service within your business. So, let's talk about it from a Facebook lead perspective, or you can even look at it as a Google lead perspective. A lead is anyone that has essentially inquired or looked at your service. Yeah. Actually then getting that person to then convert into a paying customer. So someone might inquire on a website inquiry about your services. They may go on your website, or like I say, they may go on Facebook, but they've inquired, they've left their details saying they're interested in something that you have to offer. It's then converting that person into an actual paying customer. So like I say, you may get someone actually inquire about something on Facebook and then converting them over onto booking a new patient appointment.
I once, years ago, actually this is really related to you. Years ago, Patrick and I were on another podcast together. Actually, your podcast.
Yeah. Which I haven't been running for ages, which I really need to get back into doing again.
Yeah, we should. You've got a lot of value to give people. But we did a podcast when I had one of my first businesses, which was called Pain Specialists Online. One of the first businesses I ever launched during COVID. Our clinics were closed. I couldn't work. I had no income. I was like, right, I still want to help people and I need to pay my bills. So what could I do? I know I'll create a business online selling my health knowledge. And it actually worked really well. But what I know now is so different. But actually, I think there is a space for that, and I'm sure people are doing that. But I was one of those first people that got into this concept of telehealth. Telehealth was the thing. It's healthcare through a screen.
Yeah, I mean, and people are still doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a scalable business. That's a good
lot of the counsellors that work with me, they not only do in-person face-to-face visit, but they do a lot of counselling online.
Yeah. I mean, is there a space for chiropractic clinics to have a telehealth business side of it? Absolutely.
I mean, I certainly think you can do your new patient consultation.
Yeah, but you can't adjust you can't adjust someone on the camera. No. You can give them exercise, you can give them advice about nutrition, but really we know the key thing. If you're having aches and pains, or you're having any kind of disease in the body, if you want to be optimizing their nervous system, so only way to do that is hands-on. But yeah, there's definitely a space there. You could do that with your sports therapist. You could do it with counselors. You could do it with nutrition guys. We're doing it in our businesses actually for nutrition. Yeah. So we're looking at do we bring a nutritionist in, but they just do telehealth. Interesting space. But my point was, on that podcast, we were talking about all things health, all things chiropractic, and how we can get in front of people consistently. Yeah,
and that's what drives up that quality in the lead. Yeah. So anything where you're showing up in the space for someone as frequently as possible, like you say, doing stuff like this is increasing the quality of someone that potentially is going to want to use your services. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, this is showing the level of knowledge that you have within your industry that someone's going to want to acquire. And you can, in my experience, you can take a lot of information from podcasts and you could apply that, but it's then having that person that sits down and puts the strategy in place for you. So like I say, it's the quality of leads are those people that have probably spent the most amount of time either consuming or listening to your content, which is why I would always say our highest quality leads come from talks, always come from talks, because they're the ones that have spent the most. They have to jump through so many hoops to get with you. So they have to fill in the form, they have to then answer the phone, they have to then book the appointment to come to the talk, they then have to sit through an hour's talk with you, and then from there that you can filter out which people actually balance with your philosophy and which ones don't, which is essentially what this does. Yes. This will balance out what people will like, who me and you are, and which people won't. Some people are going to think I'm a massive whatever.
It's the thing. It's quality over quantity.
Yeah.
But you kind of, in some businesses and associate-based businesses, you need both.
Yeah.
And there's ways of doing that. So jumping through hoops. We ran stats on this. We looked at from the clients that we bring into the clinic that are paying clients.
Yeah.
Who stays with us the longest? Who spends the most money in the business? And do you know what the results were? Referrals.
Yeah,
specifically people that had referred through our app.
Yeah.
There's a bit more tech involved. There's a bit more trust in that. Also, you win points and things for the referrer. So there's a bit of an enticing way to do it.
So
but
then a coffee card.
Yeah, exactly. And rewards-based systems work really well. And then it was like referrals from other clients that were just referrals that didn't go through the tech. They just called us up and they're like, oh, hey, someone's referred me. Cool. And then after that, this was interesting. Health talks are pretty high, but actually local magazines were really strong.
Yeah.
Because again, they have to read an article, then they have to look at the offer, then they have to decide whether they're going to pick up the phone. And a little cheat there for you guys, we did a QR code that also works really well, so they can book straight into a booking widget, and we can record using Zony. You can actually record where they've come from.
Yeah.
So we'll be like, they've scanned the QR code on the magazine, and then it books into our diary. We get an email to say they've booked. We call them up to confirm the booking, tell them the process.
Yeah.
And then in our diary within Zony,
you can see the
you can see where they've come from. So we're like, and we do this for our events as well. We're like, we can see exactly which event they've come from. And we can see where they come from magazines.
And so then
a big billboard, we know they've come from the billboard. That is how you measure. And when you can measure, Pearson's law, wherever is measured improves.
Yeah.
Wherever is measured and reported on improves exponentially. So we measure it through Zony, we report it in our weekly meetings.
Absolutely.
And that's how you scale, because you know what works. So we know that referrals work well. We know that magazines work well where there's hoops, and we know that health talks work well. Screenings, yes, you can get loads of bookings, but it's about the quality. So we always talk about screening out. So yes, we generated 86 new patients from a 3-day event, but we probably screened 200 people, but we just screened out. So we didn't want people that were totally non-local and couldn't get to the clinic. We treat people that travel hours to come to the clinic. People that live in other countries, when they're in the area they have second homes around here. Christchurch is a bit like that. They come here and they have their adjustments here. Do you know what? They get it, and they only trust us for their chiropractic, and they were referral machines. So they're the kind of clients you want. So it's about the quality, and how do we get quality? We have to get people jumping through hoops. We have to put them through a funnel. So they're a lead. So we said about what is a lead. So I think it's anyone that knows something about your business is a lead, as far as I'm concerned.
Yep.
A colder lead is someone that you've got their information from. So
and they've maybe not even thought about using your service yet.
May have not thought about it, but like for example, yesterday I was helping out an event. I love going to events. There's a reason we do loads of events. I just enjoy them. Yeah. It's like, what's a better way to spend your summer than going to lots of events, doing all sorts of things like food tasting, cheese, wine, anything,
outreach.
You name it, outreach,
and Andy,
networking.
If I know something about you, you don't mind
this weekend, exactly. This weekend, networking. We've got someone coming in from a local radio station, so we can do an episode on their station and do an advertisement with them. Yeah. We're on first name basis with the director.
Amazing.
We met 3 influencers with hundreds of thousands of followers who are going to come into the clinic, and we're going to put them through the whole process.
Yeah.
It's just I go there. I go there to generate new clients. I go there to train my team so they can do it, and I can remove myself from that process too, which I'm very close to doing. Yeah. My team are like, you don't need to be here, and I say, well, I want to be here because I want to be able to trust all of you that you can do what I can do, so I can step back and I can focus on the next thing. Yeah.
It also gave you those opportunities to meet those people.
The opportunities
and the irony is that
they're all leads as well. They're leads as far as I'm concerned. We take their names, numbers, and email addresses. Same like a new patient. And they're all leads.
Not leads necessarily in the sense that they're going to be the paying customer.
No, they're the ones
leads
that
in the sense that they can help you scale your practice, because they can put you in a position. They can put you in a position of influence. And then you've got Pete and Cindy, who have worked with the Beyonce backup dancers tour. So during Beyonce's tour, they've been the chiropractor for the Beyonce tour.
And not just Beyonce,
the WWE. And it's like, when you start working with those kinds of people want to see, and I don't care what people think, right? You may or may not like celebrities, and not everyone's going to be bothered about that. But the reality is, there's going to be so many people that care that their chiropractor sees Russell Brand.
And they will pay what Russell Brand pays because they want to see Russell Brand's chiropractor.
Right? And again, I don't care what people's opinion. I mean, personally, I don't think Joe Cipriano is a good chiropractor when I look at his adjusting online. It's probably a bold statement to say. I just think it's really gung-ho, and you're just hitting everything. But the point is, it's irrelevant what my opinion of him is. It's irrelevant because he has learned how to put himself in front of people and be able to scale like that. And he's become that influencer. He's not even tried to get people in to be an influencer. He's just become an influencer because he adopted that position early and he took that market. Yeah. Now, literally every time I open my phone on Facebook, I get fucking videos of Joe Cipriano.
Okay, so you see Joe Cipriano. So let's talk about that.
Coodie's another one.
Let's talk about omnipresence.
Yep.
The reason I think my clinic has been so successful is, first of all, I'm relentless as an individual.
Yeah.
I will do whatever it takes to...
I can't believe it.
Yeah. I actually think this stems back from so I was talking to someone else about this, and it's like, where did you get your drive from and your ambition? I was like, look, lots of people I know have desire.
Yeah.
And I learned this from my coach, Russell Brunson. He talks about this a lot in his books. Lots of people have desire, but not everyone has ambition.
No.
Or drive, I like to say. So not everyone has that. So you can have the desire to see 100 a week, which is that gold standard chiropractic. Everyone wants to see 100 a week. Okay, but then it's like, how do you break past that? So if you've got desire, you might be able to do that, but you need the ambition to really reach the mission. And unless you have that ambition and that drive, and you are relentless and you'll do whatever it takes to achieve that goal, you will always be second best. You won't be able to win, if you like. We talk about, where do people get their drive from? Someone was asking me, it's like, where do you get that ridiculous amount of drive from? I was like, well, I'm driven by a mission, not by dollar bills.
Yeah.
It's more important to me that I fulfill the mission more than the money, because the money will come anyway when I reach that mission. And it comes with it.
And this is one of the things that I learned is so I started investing as essentially like a side project to just kind of secure my income, so that I knew that if ever I became injured, or I had that security blanket. So I started investing in property. And essentially property now pretty much covers all of my life expenses. Anything, if I was to stop working tomorrow, my life expenses are covered. Right, so I know that my mortgage will be paid, my bills are covered, all the mortgages for my properties are all going to be paid just by the income that comes from that. So I now can go to work knowing that I don't actually need to work. I don't need to see that next new patient in front of me. I don't need that patient to convert. And ironically, when that is removed, all of a sudden, the sale becomes so much easier.
Absolutely.
When you don't need it.
Yes, but do you live to work or do you work to live?
Well, I'm the same as you. I work to live, yeah. Live to work. Sorry, the other way around. Yeah, live to work.
Because you love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry,
you love it. You love it. Yeah, it's your drive. It's the thing that gets you out of bed in the morning. I get out of bed and I'm excited. I get out of bed and I'm excited for the day. I've got a really cool podcast today with Dr. Patrick.
We don't have to do stuff like
this going on. Yeah, we don't need this.
No,
we're just doing it for fun.
Yeah,
but also it helps fulfill both of our missions, right? Yeah. So, consistency. So you spoke about social media. You're looking at Facebook. You're seeing the same people. It's interesting who is on your social media, like the key people that you've highlighted on your socials that you want to see. So if you're going to consume content on social, who is on there?
I mean, I don't know how or why he's on there, because he drives me mad. It is I got two. Dr. Coodie, he comes up in my social media feeds a lot. I don't know.
It's all the algorithm, isn't it?
I don't know why.
Yeah.
And then Dr. Jason Wassel. I don't know where I said his name. Again, don't know why he comes up on my, but again, I assume he's either paid or, you know, he knows that I'm someone that's likely to consume his content. So again, he comes up on my feed.
Or the algorithm knows that that's the kind of echo chamber that you are in, and people that you know follow him, so therefore you'll like the content too.
Yeah, and ironically, the last one is Joe Cipriano. Like he comes up the most on my feed.
Yeah.
And ironically, now I can't get rid of the bugger because like literally every video is him. And it's like, well, but now it sees me scrolling through so many of those
there's a
videos.
reason I asked you that. So we said about hormones, you said consistency beats intensity. Yeah. You're super consistent online, on social media.
Yeah.
You come up on my stories, I'm like, here we go, Complete Health Eastbourne, Dr. Patrick Hogg.
Yeah, 4 or 5
and he's
times.
talking about something new today.
Yeah.
And it's consistently most days. I want to say
I'm
not a big social media user for personal gain. I use it a lot for business. I'm not a doom scroller.
Yeah.
If I do have that time to be like, you know, I'm just going to look at what other people are doing.
Yeah.
And I look at what people are doing. I'm seeing you consistently on social media. Can you tell me a little bit more about that and why you've done that?
Habit.
Habit, yeah. Okay.
So initially, I'll tell you one of the things that it really it changed in my business. I don't really think, unless you're going to pay for like sponsored ads or boosting your content, that you're going to get huge amounts of new customer acquisition from doing things online. Like I say, unless you're paying for it, unless you're setting your social media up in a very particular way, or you've got someone that's you're investing a lot in getting that content reposted, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah.
But what I have found that it's done is, one, it's given us a load of content that we can recycle and reutilize, either within email, or we then take down the content from that, break it down, use stuff like ChatGPT to get the scripts and stuff from the videos, and then use it to write emails or whatever it might be, or newsletters or articles or whatever. But what it's really done is it adds a lot of time that I get to spend with the client without spending it with the client. So because I'm talking about something to do with sleep, 100 of my regular customers will see that video every time I do it.
And that probably is helping your retention as well.
Absolutely. And that's the thing that it drives the most of, is it's built the tribe to start. And also it's educating that patient in the thing that I need them to do without having to spend 20 minutes every time they come in explaining to them why. Because when you're trying to see people in 5 minutes, like you're trying to get someone in and out of the room in 5 minutes, if you then have to then talk about their sleep, their nutrition, their exercise, like you're not getting those people in and out of the room in 5 minutes. It's just not
and
happening.
how is the
and when you're seeing 250 people a week, it doesn't work if everyone's in the room with you for 15 minutes.
No, and what's the best use of their time and what's the best use of your time? Probably that content should be consumed outside the clinic, whereas the thing that you are good at, or your strength, is the adjustment. The time they need to actually be in the room on the bench is the adjustment. Everything else is noise, but important noise, yes, but also retention. I mean, your PVA must be really high. You probably don't need to see that many new patients now. No, I see maybe at the moment, because we're trying to drive the associate growth more, I maybe see four at most of minor referrals, 4 or 5 news a week. 4 or 5 news a week, and you can still grow a business on that.
Hugely. It just keeps me, that consistently keeps me over 200 a week.
Yeah, and we have chiropractors in our clinic, so I've got 7 associate chiropractors, probably be 10 by January, and I've got 2 full-time massage therapists and a big support team around that. And some of ours need 3 to 5 a week to grow. Our new chiropractors starting, I want them seeing about 5 to 10, but probably no more than 10, 15 if they're really driven and we've really coached them well to convert at the front end, and we've brought in the right people to begin with, maybe 15. But I think beyond that, then it's too much. You can't give the same focus and energy to every single client.
I was on holiday last week, week before, so it was weekend just gone, that I was away, and I was flying back the following Tuesday, and my associate was doing a talk whilst I was away. He was doing a talk on plantar fasciitis.
Yeah.
And converted 18 leads from that.
Amazing.
Yeah. So, the reality is that sometimes you're going to find that I'd love to say to him, hey, no, you're only going to see 10 news in a week. But the reality is that week he's going to be seeing 50 to 20. And the reality is with those kinds of things, sometimes it was really funny because a couple of weeks ago he was complaining that, we're not really seeing enough new patients. And I was like, dude, like, wait, right? The thing with marketing and the way that our marketing calendar works, it peaks and troughs. It's going to, because you're going to have X number of events that all just happen. It's like you're at the moment, you're doing loads of external screenings, and it just happens to be your opportunities for doing those events during the summer are astronomically higher than sometimes what they are in the winter.
Yeah, so we changed the marketing in the winter completely.
Yeah, you have to shift around and do something completely different. And so you have to find different avenues, etc. During different times of the year. And I said, look, just watch this space, because you're complaining right now, but just take the opportunity to have the rest and just dive deep in with your clients and focus on other areas. Yeah. But one of the we're now really looking at how do we now increase retention for my associate. So we're now starting to do birthday cards with like scratch cards in them for like people's birthdays. Anyone that's been with us for over £500 worth of care, and they've had an appointment within the last 2 years, they'll get a birthday card with a scratch card in it.
Newsletters
with another voucher in it.
Brilliant.
Saying, hey, here's an excellent special offer for a £25 exam with X-rays. You've been a valued customer with us before. If they're still active, we just stick in a scratch card and then like a 50% off of a massage. Yeah. So and then again, still trying to drive them into other use of service.
Yeah. I mean, what's more important? Is it bringing new clients in, or is it just keeping them?
Yeah, and both. You want to have both. You
won't need the attraction part as much if you can just keep the ones that you've got. Because,
absolutely,
like you say about,
but it's a campaign that uses both.
This goes back to. Yes, we've got loads of other clinics in the area, but do you know what? There's 450,000 people in Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole.
Absolutely.
We can't see 450,000 people in this building, so we're big pie. So we understand, like, some of the people I've coached over the years are what you would call my competitors. I don't care, because there's loads of other clinics. And really, if they could just keep their patients, great. We don't have to fight so much for Facebook ads and drive up the cost per lead. I had a conversation with a local chiropractic clinic competitor, Robin Cassidy, right? He won't mind me mentioning him. He's literally, his clinic is over the road over that way. Yeah. It's a 5-minute walk from here. Yeah. Lovely clinic, open plan, different style of practice to us. He'll attract certain clients, we'll attract others. And we were talking about how can we manipulate the market. We are responsible for most of the ad spend for chiropractic in this area. How can we manipulate our price point to drive down our cost per lead? And that's the conversations we have. So you're networking with other clinics to manipulate the market to benefit your business. So there are ways of doing it. But yeah, consistency. So we're talking about social media. We're talking about retention now. Retention is key. I found that actually the best for retention is actually the chiropractor. You can have lots of other things. Like we have lots of bonuses of being part of our membership and direct debit. That helps. You can do client retention events. You can do newsletters, you can do scratch cards, you can do birthday cards, you can do Christmas cards. There's loads you can do for retention. Yeah. But ultimately, the thing that's going to keep them there is the thing that they come in for, which is their health. So the chiropractor is key. And I've learned that over the years. We've done loads of external stuff to try and keep people in the building. As soon as we've really dialed in and we're like, okay, it's the chiropractors, let's look at what's going on in the rooms. And you realise they're not always talking about chiropractic and health. They're talking about what do they do on the weekend and this and that. Which is all important stuff to a certain extent, but if you've got 10 minutes or 5 minutes for an adjustment, that time that they're in there, the intention needs to be so high and the conversations need to be so focused. It's like, how can I give them the most value? How can I transform that person's life in 5 to 10 minutes? What do I need to do? I need to do some pre-testing before. I need to do an undeniable adjustment. That's really finding the root cause of the problem, finding that primary. And then I need to do some post-testing, and I need to give them one big takeaway that's going to dictate the rest of their week before they next see me, or a few days, or whatever it is, or next month. That is the key to retention, I think. It's about what happens in that room, but it's that whole experience. It's more time in the clinic, less time with the chiropractor.
Have you ever read I forget the name of the author. The book's called The Purpose-Driven Church.
Yes.
You read it?
Yeah, really good book.
It's interesting.
And there's also Purpose-Driven Life, which is
same kind of.
How to build a community.
Yeah, he would probably disagree with you in that. If you took the examples from that book, because it's not about the one thing. I agree with you that adjustment has to be on point, but it's only one cog. It's only one cog in the clock.
But it's about, you mentioned before about, you said it in passing, you said, and that's how I built that tribe, through social media, through constant social media content.
I'm making.
So building a tribe.
Those birthday cards, those Facebook videos of people. So the point is, it's not one thing. And you're right. Like if the chiropractor is not on purpose in that position, it's going to make a difference. It's one of the cogs is collapsing the
dropping
but
in. It's dropping in, isn't it? Are you dropped in for that adjustment, or are you thinking about something else? Because it will show up in your adjustment.
Yeah. And the reality is though, if you've been to another practice and then this person then comes into our practice and goes, and so when I was seeing these guys, they used to do X, Y, and Z with me, and they used to send me this in the post. They used to send me this in the post. Now I've gone to this guy. He doesn't do any of this stuff. This place is.
Yeah, but that's the thing that they remember. So they come for the chiropractic, but they remember. So people remember what you said to them, but they will remember how you made them feel. And if you sent them a birthday card or a Christmas card or a very personalised gift. So I have in my clinic,
we just put people's names up on a board when it's their birthday on that week.
Names are good.
We have a list of referrals in our front desk.
We have, as part of our coaching program, we have an amazing, huge blackboard. You saw it downstairs in our clinic. Actually, that concept I got from you. I shamelessly copied that from you. You had, I think, 2 smaller ones and then something in the middle.
We have 3 small ones in the middle.
Yeah, okay.
And then we have 2 like longer ones on either side. We have like all of our events that are running up in one corner.
Yeah.
And then we have like welcome to the practice on one side, and then thank you for referrals, and then birthdays down here. And then we have just like different things on smaller ones.
Yeah, we do the same. Great for retention. So we have like a link to Google reviews. We've just smashed past 400 Google reviews in our clinic. Nice. So I'm pretty happy with that. We got the most endorse it. Nice. For chiropractic clinics in the UK, I probably don't know many that have got more than that. Maybe a couple. I think Wollaston Chiropractic are really good at this. There's ways of like systemizing this process for reviews. So reputation management is key. So we've done so many campaigns for Google reviews, and they're just. It's like we were discussing your one with naming the skeleton. Naming the skeleton.
You know, it's having something daft that just works like a hook for people. It just gets people interested.
We bought a new one, and he was like taller, so he's got more of a physical presence at screenings, and he's got all the anatomy drawn on him. It cost me a little bit more, but I thought, this is going to pay dividends. At an event, something I found really well. If you're watching this video, there are key things. I call them screening magnets. So there are things that bring people in and bring their attention in. I'll give you some giveaways today. 1, buy a skeleton. 2, put some really good product out there, like some pillows. People come up, they're like, just give this a squeeze, fill this pillow, and they put it in their hands, and they're like, oh, can I buy a pillow? I was like, oh, if you're looking for a pillow, actually, better to get a free spinal check first, and then we can talk about the pillow later. And then they have the free spinal check, they book in as a patient. And then maybe they'll buy the pillow later. But I'm not there to sell pillows, if you know what I mean. That's there to bring people in. A hook. These hooks, screening magnet hooks, they're so important.
Spinning wheel.
Spinning wheel.
Because we both use it.
I use one. Spinning wheels are great. But also, like, it's all about context of the event. Make yourself look busy. The event we went to last weekend, there were a few thousand people there. It wasn't a very busy event. Over the course of 3 days, a few thousand people showed up.
Yep.
The organizer said, next year, I'm just going to make it a free event. It was a ticketed event. They just didn't do what they thought they were going to do in terms of marketing. They didn't produce as best results. And we've been to a few events like that this summer. People are realizing these events are like, we just need to let this be free and then charge the vendors more when they do the bookings for the stands. So those key magnets is what's going to bring people in, and that's what you want to do. And then it's up to you to create the quality by screening people out, or book them in, but put them through another hoop. If you don't have capacity in your diary to see them, if you're a single doc, you're not going to be able to see 86 new patients. What you're going to be able to see is probably 5 to 10, maybe
86 new patients if you take it over a
year.
Yeah, I was at 86 is because essentially every new patient's an hour.
Yeah.
Like new patient consultation and report of findings is going to take you even if you can do them quickly.
Unless you're a student, which is 2 hours.
Yeah, freaking hell. But you're going to take half an hour each appointment.
Yeah.
Realistically, I mean, look, if you were really hot on it, you could probably do them in 20 minutes. But
to be safe,
scaling that,
to be safe and effective, and to convert and actually give your best and do the best for that client, then you probably need
at least an hour.
Yeah, an hour in total. Half an hour new consultation, half an hour for the report of findings. I know people like Tim Young. He'll do report of findings
reports
in way less time, and they might even do group reports sometimes. So at an event, it's about screening out. But then if they book, sometimes if it's loads, we were talking about. We had a chiropractor. He was a very, very motivated guy, and he still works with us. But he saw 55 new patients from screenings. And he wanted to try and see them all within 6 weeks. He's got a very high capacity for work, so he can do it. But we were like, would it have been better if we did a screening, then book them in for a health talk? So book them in for consultation, but they have to do a health talk first. And you just draw out that process a bit more. So then when they're actually in front of you, they're more likely to buy because they've gone through so many hoops. External screening to health talk to paying client is a concept that we're looking at. And they say, if it doesn't exist, you need to create it. So we're always creating, we're testing things. We had an event on the weekend. I showed up to the event and I saw those people hovering around. And I was like, hey, everyone, we're just about to do some screenings. And then I just started handing out the forms to fill in. We do it all digital now. They're filling in the forms. And suddenly there was like 15 people. And then I had this realization, it's only me and another chiropractor and our clinic manager who can also screen. There's 3 of us for 15 people. We're like, what's the most effective way we can get through 15 now? I was like, right, everyone grab a chair, let's do a mini health talk. So we did a mini health talk at the event. Then we screened them and then we booked them. And then you can get the highest quality ones from those. We don't want all 15. We want the stand to look busy.
Well, you want all 15 of them if they're actually...
If they're motivated. You want the motivated ones. So like, as we were saying, the ones that come to you, we're talking about Google ads versus Facebook ads. Why do Google ads get better results? Because people have had to approach you rather than you going out to them.
Service.
You getting their lead information, then you calling them, texting them, emailing, all of that. You're still approaching them, but you have to have a database, right? Mm-hmm. So everything we do at these events, so as I said, 86 new patients, but we screen 200. We've got a database of 200 contacts to now contact. Mm-hmm. So every single event, that's one of the other things, it's just farming data. So we're just farming data because one day, we're not going to be able to advertise on Facebook. Mm. Every day they're looking at new policies to make it harder for people to advertise. Mm. So even if you're in like the pharmaceutical industry, like mentioning about pharmaceuticals to improve health, they've now recently launched even further restrictions to do that. Mm-hmm. Because one of our ads was flagged up for that and we challenged it. We're like, we've got nothing to do with pharmaceuticals. In fact, we're the opposite. And then they allowed us to release the ad. So it's about farming that data and then giving them the information through emails, through videos, through social media. And then when they are ready to buy, sell. But not everyone is ready to buy. I think the statistics on this, it's like out of the people that you're advertising to, so say you're just doing an offer on Facebook, out of the people that you're doing the offer to, only 3% of those people are actually ready to buy. 30% of people are almost ready to buy, but they need a little bit more information from you to push them past the edge. 30% of people beyond that are at the start, that cold lead, that they know something about your business. So like with enough information in the long run, they'll probably be a client. And now the other percentage, what are we up to now, like 30%, they will never use your service because that's just not their thing. Like they're probably way too much into
something else,
something completely different. They've probably not even thought about back pain ever in their life or aches and pains. And it's just not on their radar and they're not interested.
Coconut works better, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's faster, it's cheaper. Voltarol gel, great marketing. If you want some good marketing, watch the Voltarol gel adverts. They're very good.
I don't know. Best marketing campaign I think I ever saw in my whole entire life was COVID.
Getting COVID?
Yeah.
For what? Oh, the general COVID.
General COVID.
For vaccines.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was probably the hardest pushed media campaign that you've ever seen. Use every single point of, and whether you agree with it or disagree with it, that's irrelevant.
Yeah,
like,
actually,
whether you
if you
agree
think
with
about
it or
it,
disagree with it is irrelevant of what our opinion of it was. They got every single expert to really put, to the point, right? It got to this point that people divided themselves so that they felt so bullied into, and if you want to gain control on something, divide people. It's the reason why we always we have these issues with race and, you know, gender, and divide people and they'll fight against each other.
Divide and conquer, as they say. And the other thing that's coming to mind when you're saying that, from what I'm hearing from you, is like, if you don't stand for something, you don't stand for anything.
Yeah.
So you either stand for vaccination or you don't stand for it. But if you want the vaccination, it's here. Yeah. But there's urgency there. You've got to get it because we're running out, and it needs to be happen sooner because people were dying.
Yeah.
Which was true. It's tragic, absolutely tragic what happened in COVID. Also, there's scarcity. We have a limited amount, so this is only for the people that really, really need it, like the high risk people. So they use scarcity, urgency. Time limiters, fear tactics, indoctrination. And there was all of that. If you think about it, there was all of that.
Every time you turned on the news, what was there? You know, we were talking about turning up on social media, and like how often you end up in someone's face. But think about what happened with COVID. How often do people talk about the stats with COVID?
Consistent.
It was consistent. To the point that
Relentless.
I even remember watching Jimmy Carr and Russell Howard as stand-up comedians, and then taking the piss out of people that didn't take COVID vaccines. Like, it went to that extreme within the fact that even comedians were taking the piss out of people for not taking COVID vaccines.
Yeah, I mean,
like, that's how deep it ingrained into culture.
You know, how many thousands, tens of thousands.
That's a great marketing campaign, by the way.
But people were dying left, right, and centre, and they had to do something about it.
Yeah,
and if the government didn't do anything about it, then there would have been uproar. Whether people were going to die anyway and the vaccine made any difference, who knows? The stats, we don't really know the truth. We don't know the truth, really.
I mean, you know,
it's coming out. It's coming out now, and there'll be the investigations are hush hush, but things will be coming out, I'm sure, in the coming years about what really happened. And do we know what the long-term effects of the vaccines are?
No,
I don't know.
I think we do, but
we'll find out.
Yeah, we're going to find out hard way.
What I do know is that society has never been at its unhealthiest.
No. But I think that's not just necessarily COVID. There's so many elements that
absolutely. Grant Cardone, another one of my mentors that I've followed for years. He wrote the book 10X, and I remember listening to that on the way to work and back from work when I was a chiropractic associate. But he always talks about investing in yourself and how that is the ultimate return on investment. Yeah. And we've both had coaches. We both coached in Ryan's circle for years. Yeah. And now, like, you have other coaches, I have other coaches. Yeah. I think you're still coaching with Ryan. Yeah. What's one investment in your own growth that's moved the needle most for you lately? And what have you been investing in?
It's a great question and a really hard one to answer. Because I know for a fact I can't put it down to any one.
It could be like a book or a course that you've done.
So the reason why I say it is it's a hard one to answer, because I have coaches almost for different aspects and areas of my life. I have a personal coach as far as like a personal trainer is concerned. I then obviously have a coach as far as my business side is concerned. And then I have a coach which is almost my art, philosophy and skill side. So, I've got different avenues and areas of coaching that I'm following. And then, like you say, you've then got all the material and stuff you read. Like I've just been on holiday. I've read Happy Sexy Millionaire, which is Stephen Bartlett's book. Yeah, you've got it up. I noticed it was up on the shelf. Yeah. And ironically, there's another book you literally got over there. There's the other book that I read when I was on holiday, which is Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Brilliant I think it's a book that people should read at least every other year, if not every year. It's not a difficult read, but I just think it just starts highlighting skills and areas in your life. But I think if you're looking at scaling, you have to be good at two things. You have to be certain in what you do. And I think that's where investing in the kind of art of what you do and the skill that you have so you get results, because when you start getting results, that breeds more results. It like snowballs. So now I know consistently I can say to someone, if I see you X number of times, this is the kind of result I would expect to see. This is what I know happens.
Okay.
And then I think obviously you have to invest in yourself from a business side, understanding your business, how to scale it, and then you've just got to invest back into your business. So the amount of money that you bring in, you have to pour like so much of that back in. So I think the reason why I say it's such a hard question to answer, because I can't say that there's one that I think is more important than the other.
Yeah.
I think that if you can spend all the money you want in the world on getting leads in, if you're not certain enough to convert those, and you'll see this with associates, right? So and I had an associate who you knew that they wanted to scale out of the business. We were dumping in 10 new patients with them a week, and they never grew past 50.
Yeah, that's always a challenge. Sometimes people, unfortunately, it's almost like some associates can repel patients.
Yeah, and
that's also, I think, a lot of that's mindset as well. They could be good adjusters, but not good communicators. Also, they just might not want it.
No.
So we talk about, do people get it? Do they want it? Do they have the capacity for it? That's how you find your A players. Yeah. And that's how you hire a team. We talk about a lot of that in clinic scale, but how to build that A-player culture. That's what we're all at. It's like A-player culture. And we spoke about this with Tom Lawrence. So does everyone need to be an A-player? I guess not everyone has to be an A-player. You want A's and B's, really. And sometimes they fluctuate between the two. Yep. And it's your job as the leader to create that clarity to bring them back to being that A again. But you've got coaching in multiple areas. You mentioned about PT. So you're investing in a PT, which when you told me about that recently, I get it, because I also have had PTs on and off over the years. And sometimes I need it just to redirect me, sometimes I need it for accountability. More than anything, I know how to exercise, I know how to be healthy, but what I sometimes need is someone to be like, right, it's 3 times a week at 8 a.m, I'll see you there. And I'm like, well, I'm going to attend because I have to be there, I've got no choice. And the pain of not attending, I'm going to get charged anyway. The pain is so high that I'd be stupid not doing that. So the pain of the thing, Ryan Riley used to say that, and he's like, that if for people to take an action on something, the pain of not doing the thing has to outweigh the pain of doing the thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
So you've got to if you want to achieve something, you've got to have those non-negotiables. So your non-negotiables are gym, sauna, nutrition, and you're into martial arts as well.
I used to be.
Used to be more.
Yeah, not so much now.
Okay.
Not so much. My hands don't like it with work.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and these bad boys are
your money makers for now.
Yeah.
I
mean, don't get me wrong. I could go without it, but like,
you should be insuring. Do you insure your hands?
Yeah, my hands are insured. But we talk about like different types of. My business is very much a hybrid business.
Yeah.
I have no intention of removing myself from my business. I have no desire to have 10 clinics. That it's not me. It's not what I want. Yeah. I have a desire to drive up good quality care within our clinic and make sure that we're seeing and giving people the quality. So my space is going to be more into going into teaching people how to do that, as opposed to necessarily looking at growing 15 clinics. It's just not. That's not my dream.
Are you looking to help more people, or are you looking to charge more to help those niche clients that can afford those higher prices? Like, who is your target client, and what does that person look like? Or is it everyone with a spine?
Yeah, it was really interesting. I was at a mastermind with Dr. Hashim. Is it Mahali? Again, I forget his name. He's basically blowing the whistle on statins, and the effects that statins actually have, and actually their efficacy, and how ineffective actually they are. Yeah. But it was interesting because he said he sat on a board meeting once for a pharmaceutical company, and he said we need to get as many people on as many different drugs for as long as we can. So as many people on as many different drugs for as long as we can. And I think that's a great philosophy for a chiropractic clinic. We need as many patients of many different ages receiving as many different styles of care as we can possibly get them on. And I think, within our practice, how many people would be healthier if they saw myself, my massage therapist, and my physiotherapist, even if it was just once a month. Totally. So could you imagine the change in health? So what are we looking for as a niche client is that, we want people that want to be healthier. Do we necessarily want to, we already charge the most out of any clinic in our area. Like we're already at that point. I know my staff always feel really anxious whenever I say putting the prices up because we're already more expensive than everyone else. So
yeah, absolutely.
You know,
and that's how the way it should be. That's the way it should be. You should be the most. You should be premium. You don't have to be. Like you could be really, really cheap. You could be like the McDonald's of chiropractic.
Yeah.
You could be like really, really cheap. Serve as many people in many different parts of the community as possible, and then just scale from there. Or you could be the most expensive, really, really premium model, luxury experience coming in, and charge premium pricing, but you're only going to target that top sort of 10% of society.
I mean, and the reality is that I already know that our visits are going to be shorter than everyone else's, and we're charging more.
Yeah,
but
Dan Priestley bangs on about this, and as does Alex Hormozy. They talk about create a product or service that rich people will buy from, or which rich people will buy.
Yeah.
Create something that rich people will buy, and that's how you create if it's just about the money and you want high profits, like make something expensive that rich people will buy. And you can do that in chiropractic. You can go really, as I said, go premium and charge the prices to reflect that. And I've seen lots of businesses do that. So Stephen Bartlett, he always says that your failures become your best stories later on. Looking back, do you think that something that happened that you needed that challenge to become who you are now, like something you had to fail in?
There's so many.
I mean, we went to a really tough school. Like, don't get me wrong, Dr. Patrick and I, we went to a school in Dorset. It was a tough school, but it produced some incredible entrepreneurs, I must say.
Yeah.
But it also produced a lot of lunatics. Would you say like that shaped your journey in a way? Because people said, where did you get your drive from? I was like, I had to learn to stand up for myself from a really young age and stand my ground and realize that if I wanted to be the cream of the crop, I had to stand out and do those things that other people aren't prepared to do.
Yeah.
And that's how I became what you could class as successful. And I still think I've got a long journey in front of me. But what for you, like, what would you say that failure is? Like, what was it that you learned from fast? And
I was going to say, school was always an interesting one. I mean,
were you a good student, A-star student?
I mean, I was in the top 5% of students in the school. So I think probably the biggest pivotal point when I first started running a practice, that's when you make the most amount of, let's call them fuck ups, because that's what it was. I remember just having my new associate started, and I just, I said, look, reality is when I took over this practice, he upset one of my practice staff recently, and I said, look, I'll shoot straight with you. When I first started running this practice, I pissed everyone off at least once. Everyone. We started scaling hard. It was stressful for people. Communication wasn't necessarily as strong as it should be. I hadn't read Dale Carnegie's book by that point. Maybe I was too blunt. I was too brutal. Because, like you say, being the school that we came from, you become a very thick-skinned person, and you can sometimes become a bit abrupt, and you can become a little bit kind of like shelled off from everyone because that's what you learn to do. And actually, as a business owner, as you start to scale, you start to learn that the communication skill you use with one person is not the same communication skill you use with everyone. So I think probably the hardest lesson was learning that communication skills with people, because I'll tell you, man, I ended up having staff go out long-term sick as a result of feeling bullied and pressured at work. It's just because I wasn't communicating in the style that was necessary for her.
Yeah. And you and I both know, like, sometimes those people, but also those people may not be the right people for your business. Like, it's not the right, you haven't got the right person. Almost them leaving or going on sick has been good for you. That's a good lesson, a life lesson for you. It's like, almost you need to find the right people from the beginning. And sometimes you don't know who you've got. Like, you think everything looks good on paper, the interview they smash, and they're in the clinic, give them 6 months, you get to know who they really are. And you're like, do I still need that skill set? Or are they in the right seat? Should they go into that seat? Or is it just the wrong person?
Yeah.
And that takes time to work that out, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So we're talking about people, we're talking about retention, we've covered so many areas here.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about systems.
Yep.
So I've worked out that in business, you need systems, structures, processes. When we do our discovery calls with our coaching clients with Clinic Scale, it's all about what are the systems you're currently using? What structure? What's the process? What's the organizational chart here? And if we can get those foundations strong, you can scale from there. So Cody Sanchez, she wrote the book Main Street Millionaire. She just picks boring businesses to invest in, and she just scales from there. She's worth a lot of money now, millions. And she does a lot of work with Stephen Bartlett, Dan Priestley, and Hormozy. She talks about using leverage and tools and systems to multiply your time and impact. Do you feel like tools that you use have helped you create leverage, or are you still heavy on hands-on touch points?
No. Well, both. Both. So we have, we use outbound calls. We're in the process of utilizing stuff like AI to do outbound calls. But I mean, we're still using on phone. People are reaching out touch points. We still use stuff like CRMs for email marketing. We use stuff like print newsletters within the practice. We've got so many avenues in which you're creating touch points with patients. We still have text reminders. So our systems are integrated. We've got CRMs. We've got, obviously, we use Practice Hub when they use Zona.
So CRM, what is the CRM? For those listening, you've got EHRs and you've got CRMs. So an EHR is an electronic health record. So things like Zoni, Practice Hub, Jane. Those Chiro Hub, these are EHRs, and a CRM. Sometimes they can. What is a CRM? Though? So CRM is a customer relationship management tool. So what's the difference?
So, I mean, ironically, there's probably a little bit of crossover with them now, because I think stuff like Practice Hub certainly has that kind of CRM element to it. It's just really basic. A CRM is something that essentially you can almost utilize and drive as a marketing tool. You can use it for just general retention marketing, so stuff like sending regular emails to your customer base, either storytelling. You can send special offers, you can send text reminders, but you can also utilize it to put people into funnels. So when someone makes a customer acquisition, you can send a funnel of emails that essentially are kind of trying to lead that customer to make the booking with you.
So there's different ways of utilizing having a CRM, is it essential for a chiropractic clinic to scale? Do you think? Is it essential?
I don't know.
I know some of the top chiropractic clinics in the country that will be listening to this, particularly one chiropractic clinic that I can think of. They only implemented having a CRM, I think, 2 years ago, and their clinic was already hitting, I think, 1.4 million at the time. I mean, it depends. So you can do a lot without them. It just helps scale faster.
And again, the question is that do you want to make more money? Do you want to serve more people? Because the reality is that, and this is what I've learned, and someone just described it like this to me, is if you imagine a big river, that big river wasn't always a big river. It's loads of little streams that have all come together to make one big river. So yeah, you're absolutely right. You can have a £1.4 million business without actually having to have a CRM. But the reality is if you add that river in, what's going to happen to the size of that river? It's just going to grow even bigger. So the more avenues and opportunities that you can create for people, the better.
As I said to you, one day we won't be able to use Facebook. We call it meta ads now, Facebook and Instagram marketing, which a lot of chiropractors rely heavily on now. So if you're not harvesting data now, if you're not farming that data, and you're just all about sending out offers all the time and hitting that 3% of people that are ready to buy, it's going to be very hard for you to scale that business when they take Facebook marketing away from us. So what you should be doing is farming the data, building up that database like we do. We do that at events. We do that from cold outreach with lead generation tools from...
And just everyone that you ever speak to, stick them onto your regular newsletter.
Absolutely.
Just get them straight onto your newsletter. Because
not just leads to become clients, but leads to help build your network. Like I said about the local radio station, we've got influencers that we're working with that can refer for us, different businesses that you can network with, local businesses, the big businesses where you want to go into, health talk opportunities, they are all leads and they can help benefit and grow your practice. So CRMs, I intentionally mentioned this, but we are actually working on building our own CRM within Clinic Scale. We think it's going to be called, quite straightforward, Clinic Scale CRM. Keep it simple. It does exactly what it says on the tin. So scales your business. It's a customer relationship management tool. It's going to be looking at building up your reputation. So it's going to help you smash through 400 Google reviews like we've done. It's going to help you convert those leads. It will be able to build landing pages. It's going to use AI. There's going to be AI bots that can start conversations through things like WhatsApp with your clients. It's going to have, like you said, these AI voice calls is another avenue we're looking at. The tech is still a little bit behind for that, so we've got to work it, and this kind of stuff, it costs thousands to build this kind of thing. You're talking tens of thousands to build this out. And it's something that we're working on in the pipeline, but we're only going to release it to a select few people. Patrick, I'm happy
probably
for you.
Probably going to be me.
Yeah, probably you, to test it out, see what works, see what doesn't work. And we'll have a limited amount.
I'll be beta when it all goes wrong.
Yeah. You've got to have your test clients
Of course
for
you
it.
have.
But we're already testing it now. The emails, the people that are on our newsletter. So obviously, if you find this content useful, please join our newsletter. The information for that will be in the bio of this podcast, and if you're watching this on YouTube, it's all in the bio. So please join our newsletter. There'll be loads of information. But in that newsletter, that will be part of our CRM. So the sequences that will follow will be part of our CRM. So if you like what you're following and you think your patients could have something like this and you could utilize that in your business, then please use our CRM. But as I said, if you want to find out more than that, just book a discovery call with myself or my team, and we'll be able to show you what that looks like. Patrick, we're just going to wrap it up. There's so much more we can talk about. I think we could do podcasts for hours and hours and hours, but I hope you found the content helpful. I know I have found this helpful. They say that people running podcasts, the person that learns the most is the interviewer. So I've learned so much from you today, and I always do, and I really appreciate you. So looking ahead though, what is next on the horizon for you in Complete Health? I know you were thinking about doing some technique-based training. What's happening there?
Yeah, so I mean, we're looking. So I think really for me, what I'm now starting to come to realise, I'm getting so many people come and observe me and talking about wanting to learn what essentially I do. I've been learning with Tom Greenfield and Tom Lawrence, and a lot of their courses are running miles up the country. But we're looking at potentially doing some intimate small sessions with people, just doing just some basic. I say basic. It's not basic. Chiropractic's not basic, but going through and actually coaching some technique. I think the priority for it for me is actually getting my associates to do, and then just being able to just take that opportunity that actually I think when you've got a group of 5 to 10 people that you can go really intimate with and just deep dive into technique and learning the actual art and skill of what we do, I think really the real reason I want to do it is I want to get my practice pumping as best as we possibly can.
Absolutely.
But then create that opportunity for other people to be able to have that certainty when they're testing their clients as well. And so understanding how the neurological system presents when you're adjusting, like what does a firing or under firing nervous system look like, and what can we actually do that then utilizes that system and gets it firing at its ideal level. So
I've seen you adjust multiple times, and you've adjusted me multiple times.
Yeah,
I think you have so much value to give students. I don't think there's many chiropractors in the UK that have been to as many seminars and conferences and investing in themselves as a pure artist of the profession, as a pure pioneer artist, in the actual technique side more than you have. I
can't think of many techniques I haven't gone and explored. Yeah. So I've explored network. So it was funny. You said you were when you were getting adjusted by Brett Jones. You can see the elements of stuff like network and stuff within the way that they work. So most of these people that you really see that are really key on the art, all they've done is they've gone round and they've taken the elements of what really works, and you see this time and time again. And the more I now watch people, I go, that's that element of this, and really connecting with that person's emotional or spiritual, physical elements, whatever it might be. What is that element, and what is it that you really want to give that person that's on the table? And that is a skill.
And I see that with the way you adjust with the techniques, and with Brett Jones, he's taken little bits over his career from everyone, and he's an absolute spiritual.
He's a machine.
He's a spiritual leader. He's a shaman. He's got multiple clinics. Yeah. He's a He's a one-to-one coach. You name it, he's doing it, and
it's insane.
Yeah, incredible, and hopefully we'll get him on the podcast too.
Awesome.
He was cool. I actually saw him speak at a recent conference, Health Warrior conference with Ryan Ryder, and he was really cool. I've never seen 200 so people in a room connect in such a deep way. When one person was getting adjusted, all the chiropractors were connected. That was very special.
And that's what we want to teach. That's what we want to be teaching, is how do we connect to that person's intelligence.
Yes. Yeah, and how can we get the chiropractors connected again, working together,
because that's what we're
against
struggling
each
with
other? So we're all going in different directions, but how can we reunite the chiropractors, build that tribe up again, and Clinic Scale? I guess what we're trying to do is we're trying to rebuild that tribe, build that community. I've got my free community on Facebook. It's called the Clinic Scale Community. Very hard to forget that. Clinic Scale Community. Just join our Facebook group. The only prerequisite to being in is you have to be a healthcare professional in some way. It doesn't have to just be chiropractic. It can be any healthcare professional. You can join that group. We teach you how to scale your practice. We talk a lot about chiropractic, communication, systems, softwares, processes. It's all on there.
It works for all clinics.
It works for all clinics. Probably works for most businesses. But you can join that group. You just have to fill in a couple of questions and follow our rules, and then ask anything you like. We are there. My team is there to answer any questions. Patrick's on the group, so he can answer too. So if you want to take advantage, please, we'll leave a link in the bio to that too. As I said, you can join our newsletter. We'll leave some links to Patrick's work and how to get in contact with Patrick. I think I'm really excited to see you in that space. I think you'd smash it.
Yeah.
And certainly I'll be lining up to join too. So we've covered a lot today. We've covered systems. We've covered a little bit of AI. We've covered leadership. We've covered your failures. In our last episode, we spoke about how we preach to chiropractic students. So if there was a billboard outside one of the chiropractic colleges, what would it say? This time, I'd like to ask a question of if a clinic owner, say you were at one of the largest chiropractic conferences in the world, and there was a big billboard there, and Patrick Hogg had a one-liner or a couple of sentences, what would that say to those clinic owners that all they want to do is transform lives through chiropractic like we want to do? What would that billboard say? How would you help them do that?
Yeah, I think you have to connect with yourself, and then you have to connect with your tribe. And what I mean by that is that you need to be certain in what you do, but you can be the most certain person in the planet. If you're not connected to the people on the ground, you can be the best chiropractor in the world and be seeing no one. So you need to be connected with yourself, know what your thing or what your market, what your message is, and then you've got to know your tribe and who you're going to. And that's the person you've got to get to. So I think, know yourself, know your market, connect with yourself, connect with them.
Oh, I love that. That's great. Know yourself and know your market. Connect with yourself and connect with them. Love that. Yeah, so you're talking a lot about being your authentic self, but also joining a tribe. So we've been in tribes together, and new tribes are always being created, but it's finding that tribe that works best for you. There's lots of tribes out there. You've just got to find that tribe that you relate to. Within Clinic Scale, you've got our free community, but yes, there is a paid for version. Our time is worth something, and we have a paid for version. So you've got Clinic Scale Community, the free group, you've got our newsletters, there's loads of free content online you can consume, you've got this podcast, you've got YouTube, but also there's a tribe, so the Clinic Scale tribe. You can join it. There's a process that you need to go through to check that if it's right for you, and we have to feel like it's right for you too. And beyond that, we've got our academy too. So for those people in the profession that are really trying to break the limits, really trying to push themselves to achieve amazing things in their practices, that's what the academy is for. But you've got to start somewhere. So the next step for you, if you want to join our tribe, book a discovery call. We'll leave that in the show notes as well, in the bio on YouTube, if it's on YouTube. And please, just let's have a chat. Let's see if this is the right thing for you. So, Patrick, thank you so much. We really appreciate you coming back and doing it face to face this time rather than over the internet. You can't beat face to face.
Absolutely not.
You can't beat it. But what I love about you, and I think what our listeners really get from you, is your raw honesty, the clarity that you bring, and your ability just to stay consistent even when it's hard. And you're similar to me in a way. Like, you're definitely a visionary, and like our brains go in lots of different directions, lots of ideas, lots of concepts. But you've still managed to stay very consistent with what you do, and with your content, and go on CompleteHealth Eastbourne, look at their Instagram and Facebook. I think most days Patrick is releasing content. Follow that and see what Patrick does. I mean, we were talking about Gary Vee. This is one of the people that I like to follow. He talks about this concept of document, don't record content. So just document what you do, and that's what you're doing. You're like, wait, what am I thinking about today? What have I learned today? I'm going to teach my clients that. And I think that's a great way to do things. And that is how you build a following. So you're living proof that it's possible to serve your patients at a high level, build an empowered team, and create a business that actually supports your life and doesn't consume it. So your insights today are exactly what a profession needs more of. So less hype, more substance, less ego, more service. So for everyone listening, take those lessons and use them. So whether you're a new associate, an established clinic owner, or somewhere in between, remember your next level isn't about more chaos. It's about better clarity, better systems, and the courage to keep showing up even if it gets boring. But I think for Patrick, it's not boring.
No, not
So
yet.
if you want to go deeper in strategies like these, join our community, sign up to our newsletter, listen to the other episodes, and we'd love you to join the tribe when you're ready. Patrick, thank you again. You've inspired me today, and I know you'll inspire so many more listening. So I appreciate you, brother, and see you soon.
Pleasure to have that.
Thanks.